Heads up, you do. And if you are in denial about it, then that's scary.
Yeah.
That means you really have something really wrong.
The thing about denial is that it won't only affect you, it'll affect everyone around you as well. So we have a responsibility.
Yes. All right, so let's hear about we have about 6 minutes left or less.
Okay.
Let's hear about your podcast, The Inner Warrior, and what kind of outreach services you're doing right now, because you do a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, so The Inner Warrior is a platform for men and women to come and share their stories of adversity. And I want to make a note that I don't just get influencers in, because there is no difference between me, you, or let's say Tony Robbins, as a massive influence there. We're all human beings. We all have exactly the same neuroses. There is no difference. The Inner Warrior is inclusive and not at all exclusive. And that I just welcome people on, whoever they are, to come and share their stories, because, my pain is relative to somebody else's pain. And
right.
There's no difference.
I agree. And not only that, unless it's like somebody that just wants to vent and be pessimistic and say that there's no hope or there's no treatment or things like that. Or the ones that are lying about it, the fictitious ones.
I've been lucky enough to have people who are incredibly authentic on, but that's what it is. And you know what? It's not just kind of this overindulgent inspiration. It's also like, how do you work with that? Like, what can you do? What can you do if you experience this? Like, offer some value, inspire hope, that kind of thing. Because in many ways, like you're doing here, Tiffany, is to serve the audience, not yourself.
Right. Yeah, what am I getting out of this? I've been paid to be here.
You're getting an invitation to London.
I'm planning to go sometime. London is my calling. Remember, we were practicing the accent.
Oh no, don't.
I won't do it if you don't do the American one.
It's changed. So oh my God. So I'm American, and I love like soccer and going and eating Twinkies. And
it's still football.
I'm so sorry, America.
It's funny. It's harder for them to mimic an American accent than it is for us to, and it even just sounds worse. He was doing that when I was doing the pre-interview, and it just sounded like a Valley Girl, and I'm like, oh no, what American movies have you been watching? It's pretty funny. No, it's not. It's just difficult. Keep your accent. It's so much better.
Oh, thank you so much. I will do.
So we The Inner Warrior, you can find it on iTunes and Spotify. And then you also have Henry Johnstone life coaching.
Yes. So the life coaching, I coach young boys from the ages of 14 to 23, and I'm an accredited adolescence coach. And what I do with that is I help boys discover their strengths, their values, what they are really good at, so that they can play to it, so that when they encounter adversity or a challenge, they can rely on what's inside them and not look for outside support. So not look for the jug out. And they can be like, actually, I'm a badass. I am a badass. How do I approach this, Henry? Thank you. I've got this. I'm like, absolutely. My job's done. Here is another badass just walking into the world. And that's the payoff, is to know that I'm actively helping a new generation of young men just be absolutely and completely awesome in every way.
I was looking at Ed like, are we allowed to say that?
Oh, sorry. What did I say?
Never mind. But I guess it's okay. If that's not a problem, then I'll say it more often. The bad. All right. So, well said, because we like to be one. So anyway, so we are, I mean, I even have one of those buttons in my office that just like when they push it, it reaffirms. And it has the bad ASS on it, and it just says, you are a...
Yeah, thank you. Whoops,
anyway,
sorry, guys.
I don't think that's a bad word on radio. Anyway, so okay, So 10 years sober. He has his own podcast called The Inner Warrior. His guest on it. You can find it on iTunes and Spotify. And then your coaching. Do you do online coaching as well?
Yeah.
So it's Henry Johnstone Coaching?
Yeah, it's henryjohnston.org, and I see a lot of American kids and UK kids, so it's all done online.
That's awesome,
really,
Henry.
really great place.
Henry, thank you so much. It's been such an honor getting to know you. Please keep in touch. And
Will
thanks,
do.
Brian Cardoza, for setting this up. He's got your back. He's like, it's a great show. He said the inner warrior. He actually posted on Facebook Live. It's a great show. I've been on many times. The farthest from the influencer Henry Johnstone. You rock. But I don't know, Brian. I think you're shortchanging yourself on that. Brian Cardoza is a pretty great speaker too. But anyway, Henry, it's been an honor, and please come back and keep in touch. Okay.
I will do.
And
Thank
keep
you.
up the good work. And thanks so much for being on Moments of Clarity. And have a good day. And we'll be back with Beyond Clarity in just a moment, so stay tuned. From 1 to 2, we'll be discussing survivor guilt and suicide. So another hard subject to handle. We'll be back. Thanks so much.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Closure or tariffs? It's what we don't eat. I'm Mike Moss.
We're going to close the border, or I'm going to tariff the cars. I'll do one or the other.
President Trump may be indicating he doesn't plan to shut down the southern border this week, as he's been threatening.
Probably start off with the tariffs. That'll be a very powerful incentive.
And again, he's criticizing the U.S. courts.
We have a stupid system of courts. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the House will go to court to challenge the president's emergency border declaration.